Action. All right. Hey, Science Seekers, welcome to a special edition of the Science Seeker Show. We have Catherine Waterman, and I'm going to let her go ahead and explain who she is and how she relates to the Science Seeker Show right now. Welcome, Catherine.
Hi, everybody. My name is Catherine. I was once one of Mr. Pfeiffer's magnet students, but now I'm in college. So after going through the science classes with Mr. Pfeiffer, I fell in love with it. And now I'm a physics, astrophysics double major at the University of Chicago.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really impressive. Double major.
Thank you.
So I guess we're going to start a little bit and go backward. We're going to start with where you're at now. So let's talk about college, what a day in the life of a freshman looks like, especially your science and STEM, choices here, and how is that involved in this? Just to give everyone, the audience, some context, we're using you as an outside person to talk about your career in science and STEM because we had just finished a career papers project, which highlighted the Google Science Fair projects these students did, and they made videos about different science and STEM careers. We're also going to be highlighting the top 5 videos on the Science Seeker Show too later on, most likely after this episode airs. So if you could tell us a little bit about freshman year in college, especially science and STEM related, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously I'm taking a lot of STEM classes. Fun fact, it's only math. That's all I'm doing. But it's a lot of fun math. So that's all that really matters. So obviously I'm a physics major, so that means I have to take a lot of physics classes. So I did basic mechanics last quarter. So like throwing things, shooting things, like what makes planes fly, simple stuff. And this year quarter, we're in quarters, kind of like how you're doing semesters. We're doing electricity and magnetism. So a lot of various unseen forces, if you will. That's a lot of fun. Other than that, I'm taking a vector calculus and linear algebra class. So I did calc in high school, and then obviously this is like a continuation of harder calc. Math will always get harder, unfortunately, but it's really fun to kind of figure that stuff out. And then I'm taking some research classes that are specifically about taking science data and making them easy for people who aren't scientists, like making it easy for them to be able to read it, basically, is what I'm doing in that class.
Where do you see you going beyond this? I mean, this is only your freshman year, and where do you want to go career-wise, path-wise in the long run?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, it's kind of hard to tell because there are so many different specific facets of physics. There's something like chaos theory, there's quantum physics. Obviously, I'm an astrophysics major, so I can do stuff with that. So right now, I don't know how many people here know what Fermilab is, but it's a particle accelerator based in Batavia. And what they do is they take these particles called quarks and neutrinos, and those are actually the things that make up protons and neutrons and electrons, and they shoot them at one another. And there's like this super cool explosion, and they measure kind of like the data that comes out of that and the energy waves. So that's something that I'm working on right now. I'm in a program that does coding for their quantum computers that then analyzes that data. So if I really like it, I could stick with that. But also my school, so I go to the University of Chicago, we have some really good programs with NASA. So if I wanted to, I could go to either one of the coasts and start working at one of our facilities there. So either something with space or related to chaos or quantum, I think is where I'll be ending up.
It's very awesome.
Thank you.
Well, we're quite proud of you. I'll tell you that right now here at Margaret Mead Junior High. As far as, let's cut to high school. So you graduate magnet. I had you for your 8th grade year. That was my first year over here at Mead teaching magnet. We did the Google Science Fair project my first year here. And then you went over to high school. Can you tell us about your high school experience with STEM and science?
Yeah, so I went to Conant High School, Conant Cougar Supremacy. And I primarily decided to focus on STEM classes as I moved through high school. So I started taking honors biology. I moved to taking honors chemistry. That's probably the path most of you will be taking regardless of where you go. But then your junior and senior year, you get a lot more freedom to take a wider variety of classes, if you will. So I decided to take AP Physics, which is a college level physics class, and it'll get you credit at most universities. And then my senior year, I did AP Bio and a quantum physics class. I know that they only offer the quantum class at Conant. It's like a very specific teacher that teaches that. But every school in the district has some fantastic science programs. And if you're thinking of going into STEM, I highly recommend just kind of playing around with electives and classes and whatnot.
How about clubs, like outside of class? What's there available? What was your experience like?
Yeah, so I was the captain of Conant's Science Olympiad team. I specialized in the physical sciences division and the biological sciences division. So I did a lot of work with things regarding thermodynamics, electricity and magnetism, like waves, so sound waves, music, and then aerodynamics. So for Science Olympiad, that was my club. Essentially, you're broken down into teams, and each of those teams specializes on a specific thing or event. And you compete with other high schools taking college level tests. It's like a one-day tournament. They do tons of these. They're super, super fun. I highly recommend joining. It was honestly one of my favorite clubs when I was there. Other than that, we have math team, we have robotics team. I was part of a rocket team where you just competitively make rockets and fire them on the field. It's a lot of fun. Highly suggest you do it. And I think at the end you get to like blow up watermelons or something. So highly recommend doing that if you have a chance when you're in high school.
That sounds awesome. Okay, you know what? I'm going to open it up to the floor. If anyone has any questions regarding high school experiences, high school pathways, classes, or careers, college experiences, etc. Okay, let's see if anybody's got anything real quick here. So astrophysics was your major you mentioned. What does a path look like for someone to get into that from senior year in high school to like graduating college? Okay, so similar to another question we had in the last session. If you start as a freshman, do you need to know your career path all the way through? Or, you know, if you want, you know, do you need to know if I need to be an astrophysics major, do I need to know freshman year and then know the pathway or what?
Yeah, so I actually didn't go into high school with the intent of going into physics. I just found a super great love for it, and we have some fantastic teachers in D211. So your freshman and sophomore year, as long as you want to know you kind of like are thinking of going into STEM, I just say take the STEM classes. They have some fantastic honors programs, tons of resources for you guys. Junior year is when you get to start picking the more math intensive classes. So for instance, I took physics, really liked it. And that's when I kind of decided, okay, this is what I want to do as a career. The great thing about college is technically you apply with a major, but you can switch your major when you get there. So at least for me, the University of Chicago was the top of my list. It beat out like Harvard, Yale, Columbia for me. And it has one of the best physics programs in the country. But I didn't apply as a physics major. I thought I was going to go into biology. And I got here and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest place ever. And then I switched to physics and I'm honestly loving it. So in terms of high school, just stick with their STEM classes, experiment with electives, see what really sparks your interest. And then moving into college, some things that I recommend are getting resources from universities that you're looking at. So either reaching out to your counselors, or honestly, like if you want to look at physics stuff, you're more than welcome to talk with me. I can take you around the buildings and whatnot. But it's really a good idea to get in contact with people in the field because they can get you a better idea of where you'd want to attend and then what that 4-year plan in college looks like leading up to a career.
Very cool. Any other questions? Trey.
Okay, so if you were to repeat the high school class again, do you have any like tips or changes you would make to your path to help?
Oh, okay.
Ooh, I like that question.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. This is a general thing that I didn't actually get to mention last time, but you guys are the most prepared group out of anyone, out of any of like Magnet does so much for you. You will enter high school and it will be easy because the work that you're doing now is significantly harder. The biggest thing is don't let that ease kind of fool you. So you get into it and you're like, oh, this is easy. I'll like lay off and I'll like not do work. No, like keep going hardcore because eventually you'll get to these classes where you're like doing really, really well, helps you go further. That's just a general thing. Magnet is setting you up to have a fantastic high school experience. Otherwise, what would I change? Honestly, I wish that I had more time to take more STEM classes. Obviously, like there's a 4-year English requirement and you have to do that. Do it absolutely, but I love STEM. I would have taken more classes if I had the opportunity. I just physically did not have enough space. But don't let that dissuade you from like not taking other classes in fear of missing out because everything adds something. I just suggest that if you know that you really like chemistry, for example, make sure that you have room to take like AP Chem or a biochem class so that you don't miss out on that because chances are if you like chem or honors chem, you'll end up liking that class.
Okay, we're going to say thank you very much. And you've been a great interview. So thanks. It's great seeing you. It's been so many years and we really appreciate you coming on our show to talk to us today, Catherine.
Yeah, it's great seeing you too. And then if any of you guys have questions, you're more than welcome to reach out.
Yep. Take care, Catherine. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, guys.